As First Nations children all across the country are coming back to school this week, they're finding that they're in the exact same conditions or worse than they were a year ago. And that begs the question, why? Why are we in a state of crisis with regards to First Nation education? And the primary reason is that there's a lack of political will on the part of this government and previous governments to do anything about it. It's more than just a funding issue. Although funding is critical, but it also requires a fundamental mental shift and a legal shift. The legal shift is really about providing that space where First Nation jurisdiction and exclusive authority over their own education is properly recognized, both provincially and federally. Long term, I think it's up to First Nations whether they want to negotiate a sectoral self-government agreement in education, whether they want to go and design their own completely new system, have school boards, go on a nation-based education system, that's up to them. But the funding aspect of it, the treaty obligation to fund education, all of those things could be addressed today. The other shift is more of a mental shift. Because the federal government is still operating on that same policy basis, that the objective is to assimilate Indians into this country, their policies, their deals, their legislation hasn't changed at all. So if your objective is still to assimilate Indians, then you might provide more funding as long as the Indians go to provincial schools, learn English and French and European history. Where the conflict comes is that the federal government can't seem to divorce itself from that old school policy that Indians are only a temporary problem and they'll eventually be assimilated, to recognizing what the Supreme Court of Canada has said time and time again. We're all here to stay, not just Canadians, but First Nations as well. And once they accept and embrace that First Nations are a valuable part of this country, then the policy options are open and anything is possible.